Hello and welcome to Laurice's Kitchen. Next up in the candy making campaign are caramel pecan clusters. Also known commercially as caramel pecan classics, turtles, and pixies, these chocolate, caramel, and pecan candies are delicious by any name. To start these candies, we need to toast about 2 cups of pecan pieces. Now these came from the bag like this. Halves are okay, but a rough chop would be best. If you've never seen this show before, we toast nuts in a dry skillet over about medium-low heat. We want these nuts to be lightly browned and very lightly toasted. We don't want them to burn, otherwise they'll become very bitter. So we're going to need to stir these or toss these throughout the toasting process. I've got 2 baking sheets here, both lined with parchment paper. We're going to start with mounding about a half tablespoon of nuts on this parchment paper. I'm not actually sure how many of these pecan clusters I'll get out of this recipe, so I'm just going to use all the nuts that I have and then we'll go from there. I've got 48 little pecan mounds here. I do have some extra pecans left over, so if I have extra caramel, I'll go ahead and make up some more of them. Speaking of the caramel, we need to get started on that. The ingredients for this caramel is very simple. We need 1 stick of butter, that's a half of a cup, a half pound of light brown sugar, 1 cup of half and half or light cream, a half of a cup of light corn syrup, and eventually about a half of a teaspoon of vanilla. We just mix all of these ingredients, minus the vanilla, in the pan. Okay, I've got this on over medium heat. We just need to stir this until all the sugar dissolves and the butter melts. Once this mixture starts to boil, we're going to clip a candy thermometer to the inside of the pan. These are soft caramels, so we're going to cook these to 242 degrees, as opposed to chewy caramels, which get cooked to 248. We want to be able to bite into these and chew them after all. Alright, while this is boiling, we do need to stir this frequently. You can't just walk away from it. We also need to keep track of the temperature. Alright, we stir in that vanilla while the burner is off. Okay, we need to give this caramel just a few minutes to set up. Right now it's so loose that if we tried to put it on here, it would just spread all over the place. Now I'm going to be scooping my caramel with this 2-teaspoon disher. I'll probably only scoop about a teaspoon of caramel on here though. I'm also going to be spraying this with some non-stick cooking spray. That'll keep the caramel from sticking inside. See, it really does work. To finish these caramel pecan clusters, we just need to melt some chocolate to put on top. Now this is a 12-ounce bag of semi-sweet chocolate, and I'm going to be melting in 2 tablespoons of shortening. The shortening just gives the chocolate a little bit smoother and softer texture once it sets back up on top of these candies. As usual, we're melting our chocolate in the top of a double boiler. If we melted it directly in that pan, it would scorch way too easily. So we're just going to allow these chips to completely melt. We'll stir it to combine it, and then it's going back on top of those clusters. Okay, I think that's ready to go. Okay, this is about 1/2 teaspoon of chocolate. We just want to make sure we smooth it around so that it's on most of these candies. Okay, these caramels set up for about 45 minutes before I did this. Now it is kind of cold in my house today. Okay, these are probably going to need about an hour to set up for all this chocolate to harden. If you're making these in the southern hemisphere in the height of summer, you may need to put them in the refrigerator. Now, before you serve them though, they are going to have to come out to room temperature. If you serve this caramel directly from the refrigerator, no one is going to be able to get their teeth through it. All right, let's give these caramel pecan clusters a taste. Perfect.